everyone. This is International Master Robert Jamieson from Kids Unlimited in Melbourne, Australia. And I have a nice little rook endgame puzzle for you today. Before I introduce the puzzle and tell you a little bit about it, why don't you just have a go at solving it? So pause the video, look at the puzzle, white to play, see if you can find a win for white. Then we'll come back and have a chat. Okay, have you had a go? Excellent. Now, the million-dollar question, how did you go about solving the puzzle? I'm wondering if you launched into analysis straight away. So you had a look at what if I play B6, blah, 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 or what if I play King D3, blah, 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 and so on. Because I think this is a common failing of chess players, whether it be for puzzles or in your own game, is their starting point is analysis. What I try to teach in chess is understanding, and what I would like my students to do is first have a look at the big picture, try and work out what you're doing, and understand the ideas in the position, and that will hopefully help you refine your choice of moves that you need to analyze. So how does this work? So for instance, you can have a position and I say to you, well, what are you trying to do? Answer, I'm trying to checkmate the king. All right, well, the next question then is, what square do you think you're going to checkmate the king on? So you might say, oh, H3. So the next question then is, what piece do you think is going to checkmate the king? You have a look around, oh, probably the queen. Right, then you start to analyze. So you're looking for moves that will checkmate the opposing king on H3, probably with your queen doing the coup de grace. So we're looking backwards. We're looking for the ideas, and then we come and analyze them. I'm reminded of a little story some years ago. One of the coaches of Kids Unlimited was having a chat to me. He'd just been going around a training session, watching different coaches in action. And he said, oh, it's funny, Robert, I've just been watching Grandmaster Ian Rogers, and his approach is to tell his students what they should have done. Goes through the game something and says, oh, here you should play this and this and this. I've been watching you, Robert, though, and you don't do that. You ask your students what they should have done, which is a subtle difference. Perhaps you're familiar with the saying about you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Well, that's very much my approach. I want you to learn how to think, what to think about, and how to solve puzzles or find the best move in your game. I know as a player myself, I was very much in the Karpov school of thought. That sort of find a good move quickly. And of course, as you get older, you don't like to analyze too much. So I try to play on understanding rather than analysis. I remember when I was younger, I gave lots of simuls. And my largest simul was, I think, 145 players or something. So in a situation like that, you have maybe 5 or 6 seconds per move in each game to make up your mind. So really, you can only look at the position. 5 seconds later, you have to move. There's not time for detailed analysis. So I tried to become very good at looking at the position, quickly understanding what's happening, what the main ideas were, and then pick a move based on that. All right, let's get onto the puzzle now. Did you solve it? If you didn't, let's use my method. All right, so the first question we ask ourselves is, what are we trying to do? So are we trying to checkmate the black king? Doesn't look like it. Can we win his rook? Doesn't look like it. All right, so how are we going to win? The answer appears to be we have to promote a pawn. All right, so let's look at our pawns. We have 4 of them. Which pawn do you think is most likely to queen? We don't have a pass pawn at the moment. So if I have to choose, I think I'd say this pawn on H6. I mean, it's the closest. We've got 3-2 over there. So I reckon this pawn is going to be the queening pawn. All right, we could then say, well, what's stopping us from queening the pawn? Well, there's these pawns in the way. So we think logically, how can I get rid of those pawns that are blocking us? And the solution becomes apparent without too much thinking. Hope you solved it. So the first move, f5. Would you like a free pawn? Now, of course, we're threatening f takes g6, which would be pretty handy. So black takes. Next move, g6. Now we have the subtle threat of g7, and if king up, well, there's several ways to win. One way would just be rook here. If he takes us, we get a queen. So clearly, he has to take us. And now, our way is cleared to queen the pawn, but if we push it now, the rook's going to take it. So we need a sneaky little plan to help the pawn through, and that plan is b6. Taking the rook and taking on a7, so he takes us. We give him a friendly check. He has to go up to the second rank, blocking his rook, pawn up, and we win. Okay, that's a cute little puzzle, but I think the method of solving it, as I suggested, is a lot easier if you look for the ideas first, analyze second. So I hope you enjoyed that little video today and take that tip on board and use it in your own games and problem solving. And I'll see you in the next video.